My name is Captain Elena Torres. I led my team into some of the world's most dangerous missions, but one mission shattered everything I believed in. I thought loyalty was the foundation of our strength. I was wrong. Someone on my team was a traitor, and it wasn't who I expected. I'm here to tell you how I uncovered the betrayal, how I hunted down the people I once called family, and how I orchestrated revenge so precise no one saw it coming. But first, make sure you subscribe. This story is one you won't want to miss. I've spent years leading one of the most elite intelligence teams in the world. We weren't just a unit, we were a family. And like any family, we had our share of conflicts, but we always had each other's backs. At least, that's what I thought. Let me introduce you to my team, the people I once trusted with my life. First, there's Major Adrian Cole. He's my second in command, my right hand. He's everything you'd want in a soldier. Strong, confident, and a natural leader. He's been with me through thick and thin, always there to back me up when the odds were stacked against us. He's charismatic, admired by the team, and a man I thought I could rely on. We had an unspoken understanding, a bond that only those who have been through the fire together can understand. I trusted him with my life, no questions asked. But what I didn't know was that trust was slowly being chipped away. Then there's Agent Leila Marquez. She's our tech expert, the one who can hack into any system and find information no one else can. She's brilliant, but there's more to her than just her skills. Leila's like a little sister to me. She looks up to me, and I've always made sure to take care of her, to guide her through the challenges of our high-stakes world. But even though I saw her as family, I began to notice something. She was quieter than usual, distant at times. She seemed like she had something on her mind, something she wasn't telling me. I didn't want to believe it, but the signs were there. A small hesitation here, a slight shift in her behavior there. But I pushed it aside. She had been with me for years, and I didn't want to doubt her. And then there's Commander Victor Hale. He's the head of operations, the man who mentored me, shaped me into the officer I am today. He's cold, calculating, and demands results above all else. He's the kind of man who values success more than loyalty. I respected him, maybe even admired him. At least, I used to. Hale was the one who brought me into this world of espionage and covert operations. He taught me everything I knew. But the more I worked with him, the more I began to wonder about his true motives. He had a way of getting results, sure, but at what cost? He made decisions without hesitation, never considering the consequences for the people beneath him. I used to think it was just his way of maintaining control, but as time went on, I started questioning whether there was more to it than that. We had been hunting down one of the world's most elusive arms dealers, Orion. For months, we had been tracking him every move, closing in on him with every operation. But there was always something that didn't add up. Every mission, every step we took, it felt like we were walking into a trap set by someone who knew us too well. I had been trained to trust my instincts, and my instincts told me something was off. I began to watch them all, carefully. Adrian, Leila, Hale. I couldn't afford to miss a thing. Every interaction, every conversation, every look exchanged between them, I took note. I started documenting everything, tracking patterns, collecting evidence, all in silence. The more I observed, the more I realized that the lines between loyalty and betrayal were blurring. But I couldn't just confront them. If I was wrong, I would tear our team apart. If I was right, then I had to figure out who was behind it. Who was the mole? Who had turned against me, against all of us? I knew I had to be careful.
I couldn't just accuse anyone without solid proof. The stakes were too high. I had to find the truth, and I had to do it before anyone else got hurt. The tension within the team started to grow. We were all on edge, and I could feel it. Adrian was becoming more distant, more guarded. Leela was avoiding me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something. Hale was still the same, as cold and calculating as ever, but I couldn't shake the thought that maybe, just maybe, he was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes. The more I investigated, the more I began to uncover. The signs were everywhere, and they pointed to one thing: betrayal. But who was the traitor? Who could I trust? And more importantly, how could I stop them before everything I had worked for came crashing down around me? I had to find the truth, and I had to do it before anyone else got hurt. It all started with a simple anomaly, a piece of missing intel, a file that should have been in our hands, but was nowhere to be found. I didn't think much of it at first. Just a mistake, a human error, but then it happened again. Another mission, another failure. This time, the coordinates were wrong, the team was sent into a trap, and I had to pull them out at the last second. Something was wrong, and I could feel it in my gut. It wasn't just bad luck, it was sabotage. I didn't want to believe it, but every failed mission started to add up. I pulled the team into a debrief. All right, listen up. We've been off track for the past few weeks. Something isn't right. I want to know who's been leaking our intel. Adrian Cole: Captain, you're overthinking this. We've had some bad breaks, but it's not sabotage. The world isn't as predictable as we want it to be. I'm not talking about coincidence, Adrian. I'm talking about someone who knows exactly what we're going to do before we do it. I'm talking about a leak, a mole. A mole? No way! We're family, Elena. We've been through too much together. Who could betray us like that? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I need your eyes open, all of you. Watch for anything that's out of place, and don't let anyone know I'm onto this. We have to find the leak before it's too late. The meeting ended with a heavy silence, but the doubts were planted. I knew I couldn't trust anyone, but I had to keep up appearances. Adrian was still playing the loyal soldier, but something about him was off. He was too calm, too collected. It wasn't like him to brush things off so easily. I began to watch him closely. I couldn't afford to let him slip through the cracks. Later that night, I went over the mission logs. That's when I found it. Again. A discrepancy in the data. A piece of intel, hidden in plain sight. It was right there in the mission briefing, but it had been altered. Just enough to send us off course. Someone had edited the data. I ran the log through our system, traced it back to its source, and that's when I saw it. The timestamp was out of sync with the rest of the files. It was a deliberate move. Someone had planted it there, and the timing was too precise. I couldn't ignore it any longer. There was no mistake. The mole was inside the unit. I called Adrian into my office. I needed to confront him, but I had to be careful. This wasn't a direct accusation. It was a test. Adrian, I need to know something. Have you noticed anything strange? Any odd behavior from the team? What are you getting at, Captain? I'm asking if you've seen anything that doesn't add up. We've been having a lot of failed missions. Someone's been feeding the enemy our intel. Have you noticed anything unusual? Adrian, you're paranoid. You're looking for something that isn't there. We've had some bad breaks, that's all. You need to trust your team. I've got your back, like always. His response was too quick, too rehearsed. I could see the tension in his shoulders, the way his eyes avoided mine. He was hiding something, but I couldn't afford to accuse him outright. I had to be sure. I decided to confront Leela next. She had been acting distant for weeks, and I wasn't sure why. She looked up to me, but there was something she wasn't telling me. Leela, I need to talk to you. Are you hiding something from me? Captain, What do you mean? What's going on? I'm asking you to be honest with me. Have you noticed anything strange? Anything out of the ordinary? I need to know if there's something you've seen that I haven't. I don't know what you mean. Everything's fine. I'm just tired. It's been a lot lately, but nothing strange, I swear. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But the guilt in her eyes told me a different story. She was hiding something. I didn't know what, but I had to find out. The next day, I went to Hale. I couldn't keep going like this without addressing the bigger issue. He was the one who set the direction for all of us. If there was a mole, he had to know something. But Hale was different now. He wasn't the mentor I once trusted. He was cold, calculating, and distant. Hale, I need your help. We've got a mole inside the team, and I need you to back me up on this. We need to figure out who it is before it's too late. Elena, I don't think you understand. We don't have time for this. The mission comes first. The mole? We'll deal with that later. Right now, focus on the job. His words didn't sit right with me. He wasn't even concerned about the betrayal. It's like he didn't care. But I didn't press him. Not yet. I had to gather more evidence. The first clues were undeniable now. I had to make a choice. I couldn't keep letting this go. I had to find the mole before we lost everything. The more I watched, the more I knew. Something wasn't right. The clues were building, but the puzzle wasn't coming together. I had suspected Adrian, but he was too smooth, too convincing. Lila was always nervous, avoiding my eyes, but I couldn't pin anything on her. Hale was the hardest to figure out. He had been my mentor, and I never imagined he could be the one behind this. But the signs were there. I needed more. I needed concrete proof. I decided to dig deeper. I began reviewing the mission logs, again, looking for anything I might have missed. That's when I found it. A communication error, one that shouldn't have been there. An encrypted file sent directly from our secure system to an unknown destination. The timestamp was the same as the altered intel I had discovered weeks ago. Someone was using our system to leak information. And it wasn't just one mistake. It was intentional. The file had been sent by someone within the unit. It was clear now. The mole was operating right under my nose. I called another team meeting. This time, I wasn't going to play nice. This had gone on long enough. Elena Torres. Everyone listen up. We've been having issues with the missions. I've been reviewing the logs and I found something that doesn't add up. There's been a breach in our system. Someone has been sending intel to an external source. Someone from within this team. Adrian Cole. What? That's insane, Elena. There's no way. You can't be serious. Elena Torres. I'm very serious, Adrian. I've got the evidence. One of us has been leaking information, and I intend to find out who. Lila Marquez. Wait, you think one of us is the traitor? You're wrong. It's not possible. We've been together too long. Elena Torres. I don't care about how long we've been together, Lila. Someone here is working against us. We've failed too many missions, and I've connected the dots. Someone here is feeding information to the enemy, and I need to know who it is. Victor Hale. Elena, you're jumping to conclusions. We've been in worse situations. This isn't the time to start accusing each other. Focus on the mission. Elena Torres. I'm done with the mission if it means letting a traitor slip through the cracks. This is bigger than the mission, Hale. Do you understand that? Victor Hale. I understand perfectly, but we don't have time for your paranoia. You're the one who doesn't understand. Every failed mission, every bit of intel we lose, it's all connected. I've been watching everyone, and the one person who hasn't acted like he has something to hide is you, Hale. So don't tell me it's paranoia. It's a fact. You're hiding something. There it was, the words I had been afraid to speak. Hale's calm demeanor faltered for a second, just enough for me to see it. A flash of something. Fear? Guilt? I didn't know yet, but it was a crack in his armor. It was all the confirmation I needed. Hale was involved, and now I had to prove it. I didn't waste time. I pulled up the encrypted file again. It wasn't just a leak. It was an exchange of information. The details matched the time of our last mission failure. It was Hale's personal code that opened the file. My hands trembled as I processed the data. There was no denying it anymore. Hale was the mole. I couldn't confront him directly. He was too dangerous for that. I needed a plan, something more precise, more calculated. If I was going to expose him, I had to play this carefully. The next day, I called Adrian into my office. I needed him on my side. I couldn't trust him fully, but right now he was the only one I could work with. Elena Torres. Adrian, I need you to help me with something. I've found the mole. It's Hale. I have the evidence. Adrian Cole. What are you talking about? Hale? That's crazy. He's been our leader for years. He's the one who trained you. You can't be serious. Elena Torres. I am serious, Adrian. I have proof. I need your help. We have to expose him before he takes us down with him. Adrian Cole. Elena, I don't know. This doesn't sound right. Hale's been with us since the beginning. How could he do this? Elena Torres. Because he's always been willing to do whatever it takes to win. He doesn't care who gets hurt along the way, not even his own team. He's been feeding intel to Orion for years, and now he's framing us to cover his tracks. We can't let him get away with it. Adrian Cole. All right, what do you need me to do? Elena Torres. I need you to keep him busy. Keep him occupied for the next few hours. I'll handle the rest. The plan was set. I knew it was risky, but I couldn't wait any longer. If Hale was going to destroy us, I had to stop him now. I had to expose him, and I had to do it before it was too late.
I thought I had everything figured out. Hale was the mole. I had the evidence and I knew what needed to be done. But then something unexpected happened. Just when I thought I had cornered him, I got another piece of information. It was a file that had been erased from our system. At first I thought it was another distraction, another one of Hale's tricks. But when I examined it closer, I realized something shocking. The file was from Leela. She had been in contact with someone outside the team, someone I didn't know. I couldn't believe it. She was the last person I would have suspected. I had to confront her, but I had to be careful. If I was wrong, it would tear the team apart, and I couldn't afford to take that risk. But if I was right, then everything I had planned would be destroyed. I decided to confront Leela first. Leela, I need you to explain something to me. I found a file that was deleted from our system. It was sent from your terminal. What's going on? I don't know what you're talking about. I've been working on my own files. I haven't sent anything to anyone. Are you sure you're looking at the right data? I'm sure. You're the only one who could have sent this file. It was encrypted and only you had access to it. So, tell me, who were you sending it to? Elena, please, you have to believe me. I didn't send that file to anyone. I don't know what happened. I swear, I haven't betrayed you. Her voice shook, but I wasn't convinced. It was hard to imagine Leela being the mole, but the evidence was right in front of me. I couldn't let her off the hook that easily. But I also had to tread carefully. I couldn't trust her just yet. Elena, I need you to explain something to me. I found a file that was deleted from our system. It was sent from your terminal. What's going on? I've been under pressure, but I would never betray you, Elena. Please believe me. I wanted to believe her. I did. But there was something in her eyes, something I couldn't place. I couldn't ignore the possibility that she was involved. The timing of the file, the way she was acting, it didn't add up. I left the conversation with more questions than answers, but now I had two suspects, Hale and Leela. Both had secrets and both had motives, but I couldn't waste time. I needed a plan. I needed to expose the mole, and I needed to do it fast. I gathered the team for a debriefing. I had to keep up the appearance of leadership while I worked on my own strategy. I couldn't let anyone see that I was starting to crack. Not yet. All right, listen up. We've had some setbacks, but we need to push forward. We've got a new target, Orion. We've been close before, but this time, we're going to get him. We'll be working in pairs. Adrian, you're with me. Leela, you'll be with Hale. Everyone knows their assignments. Let's move out. The plan was simple, but I had an agenda of my own. I knew that if I could get Adrian to work with me, I'd have him where I needed him. And if Leela and Hale were together, it would give me the opportunity to observe their behavior, to see if I could catch them slipping up. The mission was supposed to be routine, but I couldn't stop thinking about the file. I couldn't stop thinking about how Leela had reacted. She had looked guilty, but was that just because she was under pressure? Or was she hiding something more? As the hours passed, I watched them all closely. Hale and Leela moved like they always did, calm, focused, professional. Adrian and I were on the lookout for anything that seemed out of place. But as we got closer to our objective, something unexpected happened. Hale took the lead. Hale, what are you doing? We're supposed to wait for the go-ahead from command. I don't need to wait for permission. I know what I'm doing. We're moving now. His tone was sharp, and his decision to go off-plan didn't sit right with me. This wasn't how he operated, but I didn't have time to question him. We were close to Orion's location. I followed him, but I knew something was wrong. This was the moment I had been waiting for. Hale had made his move, but was it to take control of the mission, or was he covering his tracks? I didn't know yet, but I couldn't let him get away with it.
As the dust settled after our last mission, I thought I had everything figured out. Hale was the mole. I had the evidence, and I had a plan to expose him. But just when I thought I was in control, a new layer of mystery emerged. It wasn't just about the leak anymore. It wasn't just about betrayal. It was something bigger, something deeper. The encrypted message Hale had received, it didn't make sense. It was too clean, too simple. It didn't fit with the complexity of his operations. And that's when it hit me. Hale wasn't working alone. There was someone else, someone pulling his strings. But who? I spent hours thinking about it, going over everything. That's when I found the next piece of the puzzle. It was another file. This one was buried deep in our system, hidden under layers of encrypted data. I ran it through every decryption tool I had at my disposal. When it finally opened, I saw the name, Commander Victor Hale. But it wasn't just his name. There was a list of contacts, high-level government officials, military leaders, arms dealers, and then at the bottom, a name I didn't recognize, the benefactor. I stared at the screen, frozen. The benefactor. The name felt like a ghost, someone I had never heard of, but someone who seemed to be at the center of everything. The file didn't explain who the benefactor was, only that they had been funding Hale's operations for years. And this person, whoever they were, had their fingers in more pies than I could have imagined. I couldn't just sit on this information. I had to find out who the benefactor was. But how? I knew I couldn't trust anyone in the unit, not anymore. I needed to work alone. I went to the one place I could trust, the old safe house, the one location that had been compromised long ago but still had some untouched archives. I had used it before, in the early days of the operation, when we needed to keep things off the radar. It was a long shot, but it was the only lead I had. I pulled up the records, searching for any connection to the benefactor. What I found shocked me. The name wasn't just a name, it was a symbol that had been linked to an underground network of arms dealers, corrupt politicians, and black market financiers. But there was something even more unsettling. This network didn't just operate globally. It had ties directly to the highest levels of government. It was all connected, and Hale was only a small piece of the puzzle. The benefactor was someone powerful, someone untouchable. They had been orchestrating things from the shadows, pulling the strings of everyone from arms dealers to world leaders. I realized then that Hale wasn't the mastermind behind the operations. He was just a pawn in a much larger game, and I was playing right into their hands. I had to dig deeper, but I couldn't do it from the safe house. It wasn't safe anymore. I had to move fast. I contacted the only person I could trust, Adrian. He didn't know the full scope of what I had uncovered, but I needed his help. I needed someone I could rely on, someone who could help me get answers. I sent him a message, and within minutes, he showed up. Adrian Cole. Elena, what's going on? You said it was urgent. What are you not telling me? I found something big. Hale isn't the real problem. There's someone else, someone pulling the strings. I need to know who the benefactor is. This is bigger than we thought. The benefactor? Who the hell is that? Why didn't you tell me about this before? Because I wasn't sure. But now I know. The benefactor has been manipulating everything. Hale's just a tool. And if we don't find out who they are, we're all in danger. All right, so what do? We can't go after someone this powerful without a plan. We need intel. We need to know who we're dealing with. I've been digging. I've got leads, but I can't do it alone. We need to find out where the benefactor's network is operating, and we need to be quick. We didn't have much time. Every move we made was being watched, but we couldn't let fear hold us back. The benefactor was out there, and I had to find them before they found us. We spent hours poring over the records, making connections, following leads. But as the night wore on, something else became clear. This wasn't just about stopping a mole. This was about taking down an entire network. A network that had been operating in the shadows for too long. I was going to find the benefactor, expose them, and make sure they paid for every life they had ruined.
The time for secrets was over. I had the truth, and now it was time to face it. Hale wasn't the endgame. The benefactor was the one I needed to bring down. But to get to them, I had to go through Hale. He was the one who could lead me to them, whether he realized it or not. The confrontation was inevitable. Hale had to know I was onto him by now. But I wasn't going to walk into this blind. I had to be smart. I needed Adrian to help me set a trap. Hale wouldn't fall for anything less. I sent him a message telling him to meet me at the safe house. When he arrived, I could see the concern in his eyes.
Adrian Cole.
Elena, what's going on? You've been acting strange. What's the plan? I'm going to confront Hale. He's the mole, Adrian. I have the evidence, but we need to get him to slip up. We need to make him feel like he's in control, like he's winning. Only then will he give us what we need.
You're sure about this? Hale's not an idiot. He's been playing us for years. He knows how to cover his tracks.
I know. That's why we have to make him think he's one step ahead. I'll handle him. You just need to stay in the background and make sure nothing goes wrong." We laid the groundwork. I knew Hale wouldn't trust anyone, but he wouldn't expect me to be the one going after him. That's where I had the upper hand. I didn't have to wait long. Hale called me into his office the next day. The trap was set.
Victor Hale.
"Elena, I've been watching you. You've been digging, haven't you? Looking for something, looking for answers." "I haven't been digging, Hale. I've been uncovering the truth, and I know what you've been up to." "You think you know everything, don't you? You think you can expose me, take me down? You're not even close, Elena. I know about the benefactor. I know you've been working with them all along. You're not the mastermind, Hale. You're just a pawn, and I'm done playing your game. You have no idea what you're up against. The benefactor isn't some shadowy figure. They run the world. They own everything. You think you can stop them? You're out of your mind. I don't care who they are. They'll fall, just like you. I'll expose everything, Hale. The world will know the truth." He leaned back in his chair, a smirk playing at the edges of his mouth. "You think you can just expose me and walk away? You think it's that simple? The things you've uncovered are just the beginning. You've made a huge mistake, Elena. The benefactor will make sure you regret this." I could feel the weight of his words, but it didn't shake me. It only solidified my resolve. Hale wasn't going to intimidate me. He wasn't going to get away with this. "Do you think I'm scared of them? I've been to hell and back, Hale. Nothing you or the benefactor can throw at me will stop me. You have no idea what's coming for you. This isn't a game anymore. This is bigger than you, bigger than me. And when the benefactor finds out you're coming after them, they'll make sure you pay the price." He stood up from his chair, walking slowly toward me. I didn't flinch. I stood my ground. "You don't get it. You're not even close. The benefactor doesn't care about you, Elena. They care about control, and you're about to learn just how far they'll go to keep it." I didn't say anything else. There was nothing more to say. The pieces were in place. I had what I needed. The trap had worked. Hale had played his part, and now it was time for the real battle to begin. The game had changed. It wasn't just about revenge anymore. It was about survival, and I wasn't about to lose. The moment I had been waiting for had arrived. The truth was out, and there was no turning back now. Hale had been exposed as the mole, but it wasn't just about taking him down anymore. The benefactor was still out there, pulling the strings, controlling everything from the shadows. Hale was nothing but a puppet, and it was time to cut the strings. I had one chance to get it right, one chance to expose the entire network. The trap was set, but this wasn't going to be easy. The benefactor wasn't someone you could take down with a single strike. I needed leverage. I needed a way to draw them out into the open. I met with Adrian again, knowing that things were about to get dangerous. We couldn't afford to make any mistakes. "We have one shot at this, Adrian. Hale's in the wind, but that doesn't matter now. It's the benefactor who's the real threat. We need to expose them, get them to show their hand." "And how exactly are we going to do that? The benefactor isn't just going to walk into a trap. We're not dealing with amateurs here, Elena. These people are powerful, and they have eyes everywhere." "I know. That's why we have to make them believe they're the ones in control. I've been monitoring the communications, and there's a pattern. The benefactor communicates through an encrypted network. I've found the access point, the place where they send out their orders. If we can intercept that transmission, we can track them. But we need Hale's help to get in." "Hale? You're still planning to use him? After everything he's done?" "He's the only one who knows the way in. He's been working with them too long. We can't do this without him, but we can't trust him either. We'll use Hale as bait. Using Hale as bait sounds risky. What if he's not as cooperative as you think? Then we make him cooperate. We give him a choice. Help us take down the benefactor, or he disappears with them. Either way, he's finished. But we need him to think he's still in control. That's how we get him to lead us straight to them. It was a dangerous plan, but it was the only one that had a chance of working. Hale had to believe we were still in the game, that we still needed him, and in order to get to the benefactor, we had to play the game their way. I called Hale in for one last meeting. The moment of truth was upon us. Hale, this is your chance. You want to come out of this alive? Help us take down the benefactor, lead us to them, and I promise you'll walk away with your life. But if you refuse, if you try to play both sides again, then you'll disappear with them. No one will remember your name. Hale's eyes flickered with something I couldn't quite place. Fear? Regret? Whatever it was, I saw it for a brief moment before his mask returned. All right, Elena, I'll help you. But remember, you're playing a dangerous game. You can't trust anyone, least of all me. I don't trust you, Hale, but I trust the plan. And that's enough for me. The next phase was set into motion. Hale gave us the access point to the encrypted network, and we moved quickly. Adrian and I worked in tandem, setting up the operation, watching as the clock ticked down. This was it. There was no turning back now. We're in. The transmission is coming through. We've got a live feed. But this is it, Elena. Once we pull the trigger, there's no going back. I know. Get ready. Once we intercept the transmission, we'll have the proof we need. We'll take down the whole operation. As the encrypted feed loaded, I saw the names of the players involved. High-ranking officials, arms dealers, mercenaries, all linked together by the benefactor. I knew we had them. This was the breakthrough we had been waiting for. But then, as the feed processed, I saw something that made my blood run cold. The transmission was traced back to Hale. He wasn't just working with them, he was still part of their network. He had been feeding us false information the entire time. Adrian, get ready. Hale's been playing us. The benefactor is still in control. We've been set up. You mean it's all a trap? It's worse than that. Hale's still working for them. He was never going to lead us to the benefactor. We've been their pawns this whole time. The trap had been set, but it wasn't us who had walked into it. Hale had played his final card, and now we're the ones caught in the snare. Prepare for the worst, Adrian. We're not out of this yet, but we're not giving up. Not now, not ever.
The trap had been set. Hale had played us all, and in the end, we were left with nothing but the wreckage of our plan. The benefactor was still in the shadows, pulling the strings, and Hale had betrayed us to the very end. Everything I had worked for, every lead, every plan, was gone. And the worst part? I had let myself believe we were closer to the truth. The moment I realized Hale's deception, everything shifted. We weren't in control anymore. We had walked straight into his trap. Hale wasn't just a mole. He was a double agent, feeding us false information while staying loyal to the benefactor. He had been orchestrating everything, and now we were the ones caught in the crossfire. Adrian Cole. Elena, what now? We've got nothing. Hale's gone, and the benefactor? We're nowhere near them. Elena Torres. It's not over, Adrian. Hale thinks he's won. He thinks we're finished. But we've got something he doesn't. The truth. We know how deep this runs. We know the players. We know the benefactor's network. This isn't the end. It's just the beginning. But even as I spoke the words, doubt crept into my mind. Hale had been the key to everything, and now he was gone. The benefactor was still out there, untouchable, and I had no clear path to stop them. We were scrambling, looking for any lead we could follow. But each time we thought we were close, the doors closed in our faces. I had to move fast. The world we knew had changed, and I was caught in a game I wasn't prepared for. But I couldn't afford to stop. I had to make it right, no matter what it took. Elena Torres. To herself. I can't let them win. Not after everything we've been through. The cost is too high. Days passed, and the weight of Hale's betrayal kept pressing on me. I had trusted him like a brother. But now all I could feel was the bitter sting of betrayal. He had played me like a pawn, and I had walked right into his hands. But there was no time for self-pity. We had to act, and fast. Adrian Cole. I've been going over Hale's last movements. He's left a trail, small, but enough for us to follow. We've got one shot at this, Elena. If we don't take it, we're done. Elena Torres. Then we take it. We find him. We find the benefactor. We expose them all. No more running, no more games. We end this. Adrian Cole. All right, I'll get on it. But, Elena, what if we don't make it? What if this all goes south? Elena Torres. It's already gone south. We've already lost everything, but we can still win. This isn't over. We're not backing down. The next few days were a blur. Adrian and I worked around the clock, trying to track down Hale's last known location, trying to follow the leads he had left behind. But nothing was simple anymore. Every door we opened led to another dead end, another layer of deception. I couldn't afford to give up. I couldn't afford to let Hale's betrayal be the end of it. But with each passing day, the pressure mounted. The benefactor was out there, still operating in the shadows, still pulling the strings, and I had to bring them down. And then the breakthrough came. A contact we had in a foreign intelligence agency had managed to intercept a transmission that linked Hale to the highest levels of government. The benefactor's reach was far greater than I had ever imagined. Hale hadn't just been working with them, he had been working for them. He was their inside man in every major operation, feeding them information, helping them manipulate global politics and warfare. Elena Torres. Adrian, this is it. We've got proof. Hale was deeper into this than we ever knew. The benefactor wasn't just an arms dealer. They were controlling entire governments. They were running the world from behind the scenes. Adrian Cole. So what now? How do we stop them? They've got resources, connections. We're outgunned, Elena. Elena Torres. We expose them. We go public with this. We make them too big to hide. We bring everything they've done to light. If we can't fight them in the shadows, we bring them into the open. Adrian Cole. Exposing them like that? You know it won't be easy. There are people in high places who'll want this buried. They'll fight back. Elena Torres. They can fight all they want, but we have the truth, and the truth is more dangerous than any weapon they have. With the proof in hand, we began to push forward. The plan was risky. We had no idea who we could trust anymore, but we couldn't wait. The benefactor had already caused too much damage. If we didn't act, more lives would be lost. The stakes were higher than ever. The fallout from Hale's betrayal had been devastating, but in the chaos, we found something we hadn't expected: clarity. The path ahead wasn't easy, but it was clear. We knew what we had to do, and we weren't backing down. As I stood there looking at the mountains of evidence we had collected, one thought echoed in my mind. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about justice. And no matter the cost, we were going to make sure the benefactor paid for every life they had ruined.
We had all the pieces. The benefactor's network, Hale's betrayal, the lives lost along the way. But as we prepared for the final strike, the weight of what we were about to do hit me. There was no going back. This was it. The end game. Adrian and I had spent days poring over every detail. The plan was set. The benefactor was too powerful to take down directly, but we had found a way to expose them. We had the evidence. We had the contacts. We had the public's attention. We were going to go public with everything. Every corrupt deal, every hidden agenda, every conspiracy. We would make sure the world saw what they had done, who they really were. It was time to flip the script. But there was still one piece of the puzzle left. Hale. He had played us from the beginning, and now he was going to pay the price. Adrian Cole. It's time, Elena. The press conference is ready. The world is waiting. Are you sure you're ready for this? There's no turning back now, Adrian. We've exposed the benefactor. We've shown the world who they really are. But Hale, he's the one who's going to be the final piece of the puzzle. We take him down, and this nightmare ends. Do you think he'll go down without a fight? He's not going to just let this happen. I don't care what he does. We have the truth on our side, and the truth is more dangerous than any weapon he has. We had one final confrontation left. Hale thought he was untouchable. He thought he could manipulate everything from the shadows. But I had played his game long enough. I knew his weaknesses. I knew how to break him. The final showdown wasn't going to be in some back room or dark alley. It was going to be in front of the world, in front of the people who needed to know the truth. The press conference was live. The evidence was on display, the names, the accounts, the corruption, everything. Hale was watching from a distance, trying to keep his composure, but I knew he was panicking. The walls were closing in. Victor Hale, on the phone, voice tense. You think you've won, don't you? You think exposing me will change anything. The benefactor will crush you. They'll make sure you never see the light of day again. It's over, Hale. The truth is out. You can't hide anymore. The benefactor can't protect you. You've lost. You don't understand. I was always going to win. You were never going to beat me. You think I'm the only one who can play this game? You have no idea what's coming for you. Tell that to the millions who are watching right now. The truth is out, Hale. The world knows what you've done. The benefactor, they're done. And so are you. The camera switched to the live feed. The faces of powerful men and women, all exposed for their connections to the benefactor, filled the screen. I could feel the weight of the moment as I stood there, knowing what it meant. Adrian Cole. We did it. We actually did it. It's not over. Not until Hale pays for what he's done. The final twist came when Hale made his move. He tried to slip away, tried to vanish into the shadows, but he underestimated one thing. Me. He thought I'd be too distracted by the chaos, too consumed with the victory to notice his escape. He was wrong. I had one last card to play. I had Hale's personal account information. The same account that he had used to funnel money to the benefactor, the same account that tied him to every corrupt deal. The moment I revealed that, everything would collapse for him. He had no way out. And now for the final piece of the puzzle. Victor Hale, former head of operations, now exposed as a key figure in this global conspiracy. We have access to his personal accounts that have been used to fund illegal operations, arms deals, and cover up the benefactor's crimes. I pushed a button, and Hale's entire financial network appeared on the screen. The room went silent as the magnitude of his betrayal sunk in. The accounts, the transfers, the connections, it was all there, and it was irrefutable. Victor Hale, on screen, watching the reveal. Voice breaking. You think this is over. You think you've won? You have no idea what's coming for you. I already know, Hale. You were the one who thought you were untouchable. But the truth has a way of making even the most powerful crumble. The backlash was swift. The media exploded with reports. Governments scrambled to cover their tracks, but it was too late. Hale had no place left to hide. The truth was out. And the benefactor, for all their power, couldn't protect him anymore. As the cameras kept rolling, I knew the battle wasn't truly over, but it was the beginning of the end. The people who had been pulling the strings for so long were now exposed, and Hale, the man who had tried to destroy everything I had worked for, was finally paying the price.